AITA for refusing to go to a pride event with my wife? I, 30 meters, am married to a bisexual woman. 28F. I'll preface by saying that I am in no way homophobic or bigoted. I've never had a problem with my wife's identity itself. The thing is, she is very vocal and showy about it. She has a lot of pride things and clothes and whatnot. Sometimes she just wears rainbow stuff instead of bisexual colors too. So there's been incidents when people think she's just gay and don't realize I'm her husband. It honestly gets a little exhausting. She says that she doesn't like it when people assume she's straight just because she married a man, and doesn't want a big part of her identity that she's struggled with to be erased. Still, it feels like she's almost ashamed of me. There's a big end of summer pride thing. It's also to raise money for LGBT kids and whatnot. I have no problem with her going, but she wants me to come with. Says that it's really important to her, and she even got me an ally t-shirt. I told her no because it's not my thing, and she got upset. She said that she doesn't feel like I'm supportive of her identity, and I replied that maybe she needs to focus less on her identity and more on her current relationship. She's been very icy with me since. I get that I probably was a bit mean, but still. AITA? Info. Can you specify why you don't want to go with her? I'm on the fence. I am a bisexual woman who was married to a man for over a decade. I think OP needs to explain more info on why he doesn't want to go. It sounds like it's beyond the event. That OP feels threatened a little by their partner's sexuality. This might be his wife's fault to some degree if she's constantly brining it up out of context or making it out like she feels shameful that she's attracted to the opposite sex. I feel like OP, you need to have a conversation with your wife if you feel invalidated by her comments, show of her sexuality, so she can hopefully reassure you that it's not the case, that she's just expressing who she is, and that she does not think less of you, your relationship, because it's essentially a heterosexual one. On the other hand, she should be free to be who she is and show her identity without feeling guilty. Still, it feels like she's almost ashamed of me. If she was ashamed of you, she wouldn't be asking you to come with. If anything, it sounds like you're ashamed of her and want her to bury her identity away. Support your wife. YTA. She literally invited you to a very public event as her spouse and ally. This is who she is. This is the woman you married. Yes. You should go with her and YTA. If you are feeling unappreciated or left out of this relationship, maybe some couples counseling is in order. IDK. NTA. I am gay and so is my wife. I don't see a problem with this. It's like if the dude was an avid cosplayer and had passion for it while going to cons and such. The wife would be supportive. But not wanting to go to cons with him because it wasn't her thing doesn't make her a bad guy. It's just not her thing, and she doesn't want to spend her time doing something she is not equally as passionate about while having to pretend she was for him. In his environment, the issue is he feels like she is ashamed of him. If she is not realizing it, her want to be known as queer is going to ruin her relationship because she is not taking care of it. Her desire to be seen and accepted as a part of the community is overshadowing her actual relationship. Caring more about the individual's label rather than the relationship is an ender if it's not handled properly. I understand both sides, but I am going to go with NTA. Though not a simple answer because of the layers. Being an individual in a relationship is important, but it shouldn't be the most important thing, and communication is key. I'll preface by saying that I am in no way homophobic or bigoted. Wait for it. The thing is, she is very vocal and showy about it. On here is the homophobic comment. Up. You are clearly bothered by your wife's activism. even when it's an important part of her personality and so important to her. YTA. Soft YTA. Y'all need to have a conversation. Info. Do you feel threatened by how vocal she is about her sexuality? Do you feel like it threatens your relationship? Maybe talk about it with her and ask yourself why. Remember, you had to compete with all sexes to win your wife over. And she chose you. She obviously loves you. Be vulnerable with her about your feelings and you can work through them and understand them better. Also, there's a difference between accepting someone's identity and being vocally supportive. She wants you to be an ally with her, and you've basically turned her down. Sure, maybe a pride parade isn't your scene, but it's important to her and you love her. You're missing an opportunity to be a supportive partner, and that probably feels like rejection of her identity to her. I'd apologize and try to be an ally. Bisexual woman married to a man here. Soft YTA, but it's because of the identity comment. Not because you don't want to go to Pride. I ask my husband to go with me once in a while. For the sake of the offer, and I would love for him to go with me. However, he's very introverted and doesn't like big events at all. I respect his boundaries and I don't push. That identity comment though. Woof. Here's the thing. People complain all the time about showing off identities, and don't realize they also do it themselves. So there's been incidents when people think she's just gay and don't realize I'm her husband. It honestly gets a little exhausting. Part of your overall identity is you're her husband. So it's understandable that you get frustrated and tired when that part of you isn't recognized. Granted, your whole identity doesn't revolve around that. But it is a part of it, and enough so that it clearly does affect you. Sexuality is a major part of identity, and biphobia runs in both the straight and queer communities. It's very important for us to stay true to ourselves and continue to make bisexuality something we take pride in because it's a part of us. It's not just a fight for me and her. It's a fight for all bisexual people who have ever experienced hate from either side. Your wife is continually standing up for herself and others. Take pride in that. I'm going to go with nah, but you both need to really sit down and discuss what your expectations are for balancing your relationship with your identities going forward, or this will likely continue to be an issue. Personally, I think you should go to the event and put a face to a name. Be her husband publicly. That will show you are both supportive of her identity and a part of that part of her life. If you don't want to be a part of that part of her life, though, that's going to be tough to navigate. Even if you are supportive on paper, I'm not sure she should be toning down who she is to navigate your issue. But she should be considerate of your concerns within reason. And it sounds like you are both in different places with this. YTA. Just from what you mentioned, I can tell you clearly aren't supportive of her identity. You sound irked by her being proud of her identity. Her being validly upset about bi erasure has nothing to do with you, and it's nothing for you to feel ashamed about. It's about other people invalidating her and being biphobic to her. It doesn't have to be part of your identity. Many straight people go to parades to support their loved ones in the LGBT community. Your comment about her needing to focus less on her identity was such an odd comment. You are clearly threatened by her identity and feel that it affects your relationship when really, the truth here is that you are biphobic and don't realize it. YTA. Look. Go to Pride. Don't go to Pride. Whatever. But the comment about focusing less on her identity and more on her current relationship was mean. Your wife is trying to represent for her experience of being bi, which includes marrying a man, without passing herself off as straight. This is a thing that's important to a lot of bisexual women. She's being very honest, and she is making efforts to recognize the importance of your relationship both privately and in her community. It would be fine if you just didn't want to go, but you telling her to put her identity down is going to wreck so much. I need some info up. Have you told your wife that you feel she is ashamed of you? If so, what has her response been? NTA for not wanting to go. But you should have explained things better. You're feeling left out. You're okay with people knowing she's not straight as long as she makes it clear you're her husband. I'm going to be a bit controversial here possibly, but nah. I totally understand where your wife is coming from being in the same camp. I have 2 kids and I am with a woman. The assumption is that I am a straight white man. It's exhausting, especially considering I am Camp AF. But I am also an introvert and ASD. The thought of going to any event, let alone Pride, makes me anxious as hell. But your wife is an extrovert. Same as mine. Bye as well. Jinx. Anyway, we learned over our 17 years together how to support each other in our different vertness. She will hold my hand, guide me through the mayhem, keep the groups we interact with at a manageable size, make the introductions, and generally be bubbly and cheerful. She recognizes the signs when I'm overwhelmed and leads us off to somewhere a bit quieter. Get drinks or food, etc. so I can center myself. This is what your wife can do for or similar is required. In return, you give her what she needs. The support she's desperately asking for to be validated. I can't tell you how much that need for you to be validated for what you are is important. This is a communication issue. You need to sit down with her and figure out what you need and what she needs so you can approach. This is a couple propping each other up so you both get what you need. I promise you, you as a couple will be stronger for it. I'm not sure we can tell based on the info you've given. I'm introverted and hate big events. That being said, if it involved my spouse's identity, that's a biggie. I think there needs to be a hefty set of conversations around, when you do X. This makes me feel. You might realize that you've both been having very different conversations and need to make some repairs here. Still, it feels like she's almost ashamed of me. There's a big end of summer Pride thing. It's also to raise money for LGBT kids and whatnot. I have no problem with her going, but she wants me to come with. Says that it's really important to her, and she even got me an ally t-shirt. This does not sound like she's ashamed of you at all. YTA, and clearly you haven't worked on your biases about the LGBTQ+ community. I hope your wife finds someone who accepts her for who she is. If you don't want to go because you just don't like doing charity events, that's fine. There'd be no awe here. But you have hurt feelings or a bruised ego because your wife chose you but won't go with being straight passing? Seems like you're reading offense into a situation where there most likely is none. But your offended ego is trying to erase who your wife is. So you let your ego decide you won't support your wife at this event. And when she pushed back, instead of a reasoned response and good communication, you pop off with that parting shot that was essentially, "I feel neglected because you invited me to spend time with you at this event." That's what earns you the YTA, not the refusal to participate or support. Not even your concern with how flashy she dresses. Though it could be, depending on why that's an issue. Just because you wanted to wound your wife about her identity. Might get downvoted, but nah. As someone who is also queer in a straight presenting relationship, I get both sides. I hate feeling like a large part of my identity is erased when people assume I'm straight simply because of how my partner and I look. Neither of us are straight. I also understand how it could feel like your wife is ashamed of you when she tries to assert her identity. I feel like you should both get some couples therapy to work through these feelings. It seems like both of you are feeling neglected in different ways and are reacting based on instinctual feelings without taking into account the other person's POV. Take some time to explore who you are as a couple and as individuals, as well as get some couples therapy. I wish you the best. YTA. My wife of 10 years is bisexual, and after all this monogamy, she's still bisexual just like your wife. She's not automatically not bi because she's with you. If it's important to her, then at the very least you should be supportive of her. You both are missing something crucial: proper communication. Before deciding who's right or wrong, go get marriage counseling and learn to communicate better. You're married. You both need to be on the same page. Not one following the other. Not one leading the other. Please get counseling.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Kejryehe is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.